It's my pleasure to be here with you guys today to talk about MyCapitalChoice. It's a product that came about last year and has only been improved upon since that time. And this afternoon we're going to talk about some of the phase 2 feature functions that are coming. So, a few of them are released as of today. Several more will be released later in the month of March. So we're excited to get into that and show you some of the features. And all of us, we're going to all chime in on this because it's taken a team to make this happen. This was not a piece of software that was designed in a lab without people looking at it until it was in their hands. I think it's really important to know that it's your colleagues who are a part of this. I actually made a list so I wouldn't forget anyone, but for MyCapitalChoice Phase 2, some of the folks who have worked on that, in addition to Kyle, who's here on the stage, and Matt and Brian, Mike Gillis was a huge part of it. Yeah, absolutely. David Schwetner. Yeah.
David.
Jason Cummings. And Joe Mazatis. So don't want to forget any of those folks. We should have a deck that's coming up on the screen here in a moment that has all the cool information about the product. There we go. All right, so a little bit about Hatchworks, just a shameless plug since I'm here in front of a group of 300 people. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia, and our focus is on designing, developing, and deploying custom software solutions. So this isn't your run-of-the-mill WordPress website sort of shop. We try to work on the really gnarly, difficult stuff. Oh, okay, now you can hear me. Sorry about that. Start over. So from the beginning. I won't do that to you. So we're based in Atlanta, Georgia. We work on a lot of particularly gnarly and challenging system integration sort of work, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and also some of the more complex custom software like MyCapitalChoice. Some of our clients include, of course, CapitalChoice, but AT&T, Charter, Nokia, a large company you may have never heard of called PeopleScout and their parent company True Blue. We're pleased to be working with those teams and really seated at the table with them to figure out their technology strategy. So we're honored to be a part of this mission with CapitalChoice. So just to give some background on how we got here, this was all started last summer, back in July, and that's when we had a kickoff out in Greensboro at CapitalChoice's headquarters, and it all began with a rough whiteboard drawing, and we took it from there. Over the course of several hours, we went through a lot of material, and within just a couple of days, we had started prototyping what this system could look like. It's really important for us to prototype first before we start writing code because frankly, it's a lot easier to update a prototype than to recode a system. So that's the approach we took on this. In the August to October timeframe, that's when we released phase 1. So that involved all the visualization, requirements definition, development, user testing, which many of you were a part of. And December to March is when we've been working on phase 2. So again, same approach, we prototype first, define the requirements, and make sure we're building the right system the first time. So here, I'm going to go through this rather quickly because I know many of you have logged into the system. I can see that in the database to prove it. But some of the original features that are in the system and are not going away are the ability to build client profiles. It's a bit of a mini CRM to an extent, but you can also hook this to Redtail so that the information you enter here pushes over to Redtail for a seamless integration. We have a number of tools in the system in terms of financial calculators and helping to do calculations that benefit your clients, and also some recruiting tools from a potential associate perspective, where you can show them the benefits of working with CapitalChoice and bring them aboard your team. In terms of tools, the original set are still there. The financial tools, we have the dime, debt reduction, rule of 72, and compound interest. We also had the ability to do the term life quote with Transamerica and Emeritus. The dime calculator, one of the things that was really important about building this system and designing this system is that it would be dynamic. So while you're having a conversation with your prospective client, you can pivot and show them the screen on your laptop or your tablet. and they can see the information come to life. All of these graphs and charts render live while you're putting information in. It's not where you go and enter it on one screen and hit save and wait a while for the chart to appear. It happens while you're using the system. So in terms of real-time calculations, you can see that. The dime is a great example. And then this all informs the term life quote. In terms of that, with quoting, you collect your client information and some demographics about them in terms of age, height, smoking status, and whatnot, and you get a real-time quote generation. Those rate tables are pretty darn complex. We actually have an announcement about that for MyCapitalChoice Phase 2, some new functionality that's in there as of today. And then you can jump directly into the apply process. Debt reduction calculator, again, you can capture and render these charts in real time to talk about how long is it going to take for your clients to get out of debt, and show them visually, because so many people are visual learners, you can show them what this looks like on a timeline. Rule of 72, how long will it take for them to double their investment? Again, that's highly visual, and as you adjust those parameters and have a conversation with the person, you're not just telling, you're actually conversing about it and agreeing to a plan that works well for them. You can see the outcome. Same for compound interest, very similar concept. You guys are in the tool and using these today, so you know. So now we want to talk about some of the cool new features. As I mentioned each of these, I want everyone here obviously to chime in because a lot of thought went into these. So first, the expense worksheet. So at a high level, you can go in and get down to a detailed level of conversation with your clients to capture all of their expenses. So you could have one or many sources of income reflected here. You can capture their debts down to the line item, such as their mortgage payment, HOA payment, property taxes, and whatnot. And you can see a depiction of current versus planned. So some of those debts may be going away soon. You know, maybe it is something they're paying off, like a car. They only have 3 or 4 more payments on it. So you can see current versus planned when you're doing that comparison. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, we originally wanted to have I don't know, there we go. We can hear over here. We originally did the expense worksheet to line item and show, so that you could see any holes or any places where you could create some savings for your clients. But one of the columns was missing, and when we kept going through the prototype and talking through different things, I said, no, we need a planned column because things are going to change. And if they're already spending $500 a month on, let's say, the life insurance that John King was talking about earlier, but now it's only $250 a month, there's a $250 a month saving. So as you're going through their budget or their expense worksheet, you can help point out to them, if you cut this off, if you cut this out, if you reduce this, at the end of this worksheet, it's going to show what they're currently spending a month. It's going to show what their planned spending will be. It will show what their potential savings are, which will then feed into the compound interest calculator and show how those new savings can grow.
One of the things I like about this new expense worksheet is not every client's the same that we sit down with. So you're going to have some clients you sit down with and they are on top of their budget. They're using tools, and they know exactly how much they're spending every month in what category. And then you have the other scope. Most Americans don't have a freaking clue, right? And so we can come in and we can show them how to prioritize their spending, how to free up money so that they might not think that they can save for a Roth IRA or properly protect their family or accelerate their debt. And so as their coach, we can go in there and really dial in on how they're spending their money and show them areas where we free up. And so that makes it very, very powerful. I think when we first came out with the first version 1.0, I think that was an amazing tool as it is. Would you guys all agree? The company is committed to hearing us and having a panel of field leaders that can give that feedback of, hey, this is great, but we can even get even better. And so they've listened to that, and some of these new tools that are coming out now and over the next couple months, even more are coming in place. I'm very excited about that, but this is a great way just to free up, have the client realize that they do have extra money and we can find it for them.
That's right. All right, so that is available right now. So if you guys opened your laptop or phone, you could get to it and you start using the expense worksheet as of today. Next up is emergency fund calculator. So we all know that it's important to save for a rainy day. So now you can have that conversation with your client in a very visual way. And it's important to mention, even going back to the expense worksheet, just like the existing tools and calculators in the system, all of this appends to your client profile. So at the end, if you generate that PDF report, all of this is going to be there to help facilitate future conversations with the client. But here, this is all about planning for the unexpected. So you can see very quickly how to attain a goal, at what rate of interest they could earn over what time period. You can model multiple scenarios together in a conversation with your client. The visuals are rather simple. So you can see there in this example at the bottom of the page there, just a circle graph that shows the dollar amounts that are involved, the time that's involved, and you have the sliders to make very quick adjustments during the course of that conversation. Yep. That's all you can say about that, unless Kyle has something to say.
I always have something to say.
That's a good thing.
Justin said earlier, when he was talking about this tool's dynamic, and that's a great word, because if you're using this across the kitchen table on either an iPad or a Surface Pro or just a laptop computer, it's a very impressive tool. A client can't sit there and so their jaw starts dropping down. Oh my goodness, this is cool. So it's very impressive from that standpoint. But what this tool does is it leads to those talking points. A calculator by itself isn't going to close more business for you, but it's going to start the conversation, like on the emergency fund, to where I can say, for us to have a proper, and I call it Murphy repellent funds, this is how much we need, and I can show them in real time, click a few buttons, and pretty graphs appear. And then I can, from there, that conversation has started, and then I can talk to them about, well, this is the strategy we're going to use for that emergency fund. And it'll lead to that action, okay? Planning without action doesn't lead anywhere. But we got to lead them to action, and that's what these tools are giving us, leading us to that action point.
And ultimately, as we roll out the complete set of tools in MyCapitalChoice Phase 2 that you'll see this afternoon, there's going to be cross-linkage. So if you enter information in one calculator, it will populate over into another so that you don't have to repeat the conversation multiple times. It's a big deal. Your time is valuable and your client's time is valuable. So you don't want to fumble through a system like that. So we're going to have cross-linkage in there as well. So those were the two biggies for today that are deployed. You can log in right now and start using both of those features of the system. But wait, there's more. There's more.
This free watch.
Yes. For the next 30 minutes, if you subscribe now, that's not how this works. So, cover page. This may seem kind of frou-frou, but it's rather important. You want all of the materials that you're putting in front of your clients to look as professional as possible. Earlier this morning, there was a video that demonstrated the store online where you can create the business cards and whatnot, right? This folds right into that. So we are going to have, when you generate a PDF at the end of creating a client profile, you will have a new custom cover sheet that will look just like what's on the right-hand side of the screen there, with the client's first and last name, contact information, and what's nice is it's cut off on this slide, but take my word for it, it will have your signature with your name, phone number, contact, email address, and the like. All right, education calculator. So this is a big one. This is a big deal. So this is all of the cost analysis involved with planning for your kids, or that could be kids singular or kids plural, college education. This allows you to add multiple children to the profile and start planning for the type of education that you could expect. We're working on averages here. So we've pulled in stats from U.S. News and World Report and a few other sites to calculate the average cost of in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition, Ivy League, and I think there's even one more beyond that, that's private schooling. That is in here so that you can start to see how much do you need to put away. You can have some anticipations in there. Perhaps the child is on track for scholarship and you don't need to save 100% of a Harvard education for them, but you can begin to see if you do put cash away to help them go to school, how long will it last? Will it last them the full term of a normal 4-year degree program? Will it be depleted before the end of the 4 years? But I think that's really important, is to be able to not only calculate what you need, but to visually see that depletion rate. All good?
Yep.
All right. The assets worksheet. So this is where you can get into detail with your client about what assets they already have. Maybe they already have real estate that's paid off and they want to recognize that in the worksheet. It could be assets in any form, 401k accounts, Roth accounts, whatever they have, you can keep record of that and append it to the client profile. So this is full scope. There are a number of categories of retirement accounts and other asset types that will be in this worksheet for you to capture. It all appends to the client profile.
Yep. Let me give a little explanation with the asset side. One of the problems that we ran into with MoneyTrack was that FINRA didn't like MoneyTrack because it looked like a consolidated report. And FINRA has a whole different set of rules around consolidated reports or personally made statements, and broker-dealers have to have a special surveillance program in place, blah, blah, blah. MyCapitalChoice is not intended to be a full-blown financial planning piece of software. It's not for investment advisor representatives to sit down and write a $3,000 fee for a plan kind of thing. It is meant to be a calculator, a set of tools altogether that you can create a generalized report as to what the client needs and what direction and what strategy they're going to use. On the assets worksheet, so that we can stay away from it looking like a consolidated report or a consolidated statement, these are going to be very general assets to list, and we're going to give you options of what to choose from. I can't let you just put a free-form field in there and put, type in gold reserves under their mattress, or this REIT that they've got over there at so-and-so. It's going to have to be categorized into high-level categories like real estate or retirement fund or 401k or individual or joint account, something like that. It can't have specific names like American funds, balance fund. It's not going to be anything like that. This is going to be just general overview of what are your assets, where are they, and then use it to then do the rest of the planning of how to get where they're trying to go to.
Next up is, I think I killed it. Yeah. We'll try that again. There we are, and I'm back. So next up is financial checklist. This is going to be a bit more of, if I'm not mistaken, because a lot of this is lorem ipsum that's in the screenshot, but our intention is for this to be some read-only helpful information that you can append to the client's report that gets generated and email to them. So you can pick and choose which topics are relevant for your client and have that appended to the PDF. So it's additional reading, things you suggest they read up on or learn more about. And this will, again, be more visual in nature, where you can pick from this checklist and append it to the end.
Action plan.
Action plan. Yeah, please.
That was your idea.
Yeah, that was my idea, so I'm going to take this one. So at least in my practice, when I'm sitting down with clients, and back in the day when we were using MoneyTrack, there was a flow of kind of walking the client down the trail, and the end was the action plan. And so the way that the version 1 came out, it was great, a lot of detailed information, but I was like, we're missing that one little point that kind of leads them to action. Okay, do you kind of get a sense of it's all about the action? So, the report can be great and everything. If they don't apply it to their lives, it's not going to get them to financial independence. If we don't walk them down that path and get them happily involved with those products, those services, those solutions, then we haven't done our job. So an action plan is just a way that, as the coach, to put our thoughts on the paper for them to just kind of do a checkbox. Okay? Isn't there something therapeutic about just checking off the list? Okay? And so my understanding, this is still in development, but my understanding is we'll have a list of kind of already sentenced out things that you can pick from, and one might be about an emergency fund. One might be about getting the term life insurance program started. And so you can just go through, and it's going to help, again, that conversation to where you're moving from education to action, okay?
And again, it's going to be canned language. It's going to be action points. It's going to be very general of send me a copy of your current life insurance policies. Review your 401k statement. Check on so-and-so. It's going to be very high-level overview, but I'm very therapeutic with check boxes too. So I'm even that guy that makes lists of lists, and I put things on a list just so I can check it off, even though I've already done it. I'm not kidding. I have one of my lists is back there on the table. But this is, so not every one of these is going to apply to every client. So as you're going through this, you're talking with them and saying, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, and you're going to check them as you go. And then when you hit create report, that checklist, only the ones that you checked, are going to print out on the last page of that report, and that will be their action plan, their homework for them to do when they get home.
The theme of today is one more, right?
One
more. And actually, there's even one more past that. So retirement calculator. So this is a method of facilitating a conversation talking about achieving retirement goals. So in terms of what's their current age, when do they seek to retire, in terms of income, what income are they expecting during retirement, right? So these are all, again, sliders. They're inputs where you can have a conversation and say, well, if we do this, your retirement looks this way. You do that, it looks another way. It shows the total picture, though. So it's breaking down income, savings, and assets, right? Which is everything that anyone is, encouraged to manage as they prepare for retirement. So again, you see there at the bottom of the screen, this is highly visual. There are always inputs and always visuals in this system because, again, some people are more visual learners.
Yeah, we have a lot to add to the retirement calculator. Again, these are things that we've tried to get in order for here, but we wanted to be sure to take our time and get all of the inputs in there appropriately. This is not supposed to be a specific financial plan, but it is replacing the part of Money Track that shows you the track to go on. This is how much. This is where you're trying to get. This is where you are now. This is where you're going to start depleting assets. This is when they're going to run out. But to be able to visually move and dynamically change and have that conversation again, it's still going to be able to be printed out on the report.
All right, so since I saw Adam say we only have a few minutes left, I want to make sure I get this in. So it's not so much about the retirement calculator, that's great though, I want to encourage everybody here to, if you're not already using MyCapitalChoice tool in your business, I encourage you to go home after this event and plug in. Plug into the power source, okay? We've put a ton of energy, time, a lot of Dick and Adam's money into this program to help you build. And what I'd say is I know you guys might be doing things a certain way in your business that's comfortable. All right, and I know there's some pain in change, but the pain of change is forgotten when the benefits of change are realized. And I'm telling you, this tool, you got to put your business onto this tool and get your new people on this. It's so duplicatable. I mean, if we're honest about some of the systems that we've run in the past, as successful as all of our different, right? But everybody's doing things a little bit differently. And it's okay to have uniquenesses, but this is something that we can plug our new people into that power source. They can go out literally on their first or second appointment and just go through, ask the questions that are right there. It pulls it up, and they look like a superhero in front of their clients. I had when this first came out, I used this on an appointment, and typically I haven't used like a Surface Pro or an iPad with the client on a carryback or anything like that. I would always have a printed version of the Money Track or whatever we were using. But I decided this time I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to test the tool. And the first appointment, we gathered data. This was the carryback. And I just went through all the different solutions, and I showed them, this is where you're at debt-wise. This is how you're going to be paid off with your debt on your current plan. This is the rule of 72. This is how money doubles. This is how compound interest. And if you're putting this much money away, this is what it's going to turn to at the different rates of returns. Educating them as I go, and I could then use the talking points to lead to the starting of the Roth IRAs, starting of the term insurance, all that kind of stuff. We got through with all that, and I said, there's one issue about your plan. You have a shortfall. You're not making enough money to make everything happen the way you wanted to. And as I was plugging this in, I was just thinking, you need to make more money. So you either have to go make more money, an extra $1,100 a month, or you got to give up on your goals and dreams. It's as simple as that. And as I was thinking about it, what are your options? Would you be willing? He goes, absolutely. I'll go get a second job. I'll go do it. It's that important. And I said, you know what? You're already a fan of what I do, aren't you? Absolutely. And I said, let me just show you something real quick, okay? And I hit that last tab, the recruiting tab. And I said, I don't even know if this would be for you, okay? You may not even be interested, but if you did what I did, and you just went out on a part-time basis, I can show you how to do it all. It's not rocket science. I mean, you do need to have good people skills, all right? And you already have that. In fact, all the tools that you already possess, you could have nothing but success with us if you choose. But if you just go out and you help 2 families, actually just 2 policies was my example. So that'd be like husband and wife, like what I just did here for you today. You realize that an entry-level contract, you'd make an extra $1,000? And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, no, I don't, you're probably not even interested. No, I'm interested. That was the very first time I ever tried to use the application with a client in a situation, and I got his hiring pack on the spot. Okay? He's getting licensed this month. So use the tool. And yeah, it might be different than the way you've done things in the past, okay? But it's worth it. Change can be good. All right? So I'd encourage you to plug into the system.
Exactly. Business opportunity is, like Kyle was just saying, that's a huge part of the system. Not much is changing with that yet. It's right there and steady as you expect it. But now it's time to, let's go. Let's start using the system. It doesn't take rocket science, but there's rocket science built into this system. I walked into the office. I'll say this real quick and then we'll wrap up. I walked into my office the other day and one of my analysts had the whiteboard out and had some algorithms written on there. I figured it was for SpaceX launching that Tesla towards Mars. But that's what's going on behind the scenes. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be a mathematician in order to use this system. It's being done for you live as you're typing it into the system. So it can really, really expedite the time to go from being a newbie to being highly proficient. So we appreciate the opportunity to build this for you guys and continue to see it grow. And we want feedback. That's the big thing. Always know that you can submit feedback and ideas on improvements, things that you see, things that can help facilitate a better conversation. All right. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
One other quick update. Emeritus's value plus term is now added too. So it's in there.
Forgot about that.
And the same pair is included in there. So.
That was our third thing. Thank you guys.